Henry Cejudo, guys. Henry took his shot. Henry missed. Now, I have to credit Henry. I thought Henry did everything right. Henry Cejudo attempted to compare himself. Now, I'm talking about Henry going after Volkanovski, but the zombie getting the nod, not Henry. John Morgan of MMA Junkie asked that question to Dana White. He teed up Dana and he asked it. Now, John is asking questions, not answering questions, but the mere fact that John asked it shows John liked it. John had his attention caught by Henry Cejudo, former champ and at the Olympics, the triple champ. John thought it was a good idea, whether John said it or not. John is a very powerful and very influential pundit within this sport. So the fact that Henry won over John Morgan means Henry did something right. I stopped what I was doing to hear the answer that Dana was going to give, which shows that Henry did something right. Henry Cejudo saved a division. He put a spotlight and a feature on a division that was rumored to be abolished. Henry did everything great. Henry attempted, when he did not get his way, to compare himself to George St-Pierre. The comparison being, hey, Dana, I was a champ. George was able to retire and return right to a title shot and in a weight class that he had never been in before. Why can't I? Well, let me answer the question for you. George St-Pierre was on top, biggest draw, and cooperative for 15 years. For 15 years of complete cooperation, he asked for one thing, and yes, he got it. Henry was not there. Many people, I will remind you, had a problem with and resisted the idea of Henry getting a crack at Demetrius Johnson in the second place. Because don't forget, that was a rematch. Many people did not think he was the rightful guy. People were not excited for that fight. Henry maximized the opportunity, did the unthinkable, beat the unbeatable, and became the champion. Henry was then given a major opportunity to headline in a champ bout against the 35-pound champion TJ Dillashaw in a main event of the UFC's debut on ESPN. That is huge. That is massive. And they called on that guy. They called on the right guy. The guy who earned it and deserved it, and he saved an entire division, not to mention was the sitting world champion. So Henry was well on his way is all I'm offering for you. George St-Pierre did it for 15 years. Henry did it much closer to 15 months. But Henry was on his way. He just stopped a little bit early. So having some of those extra bullets and some of those extra favors, for sure, it's not going to be the same. And cooperation is extremely important, guys. There's things that you have to do. And Dana answered it like this. This isn't the way it works. The guy says he's retired. I took the guy at his word. Now he's saying he's unretired and he's in a weight class that he's never competed at before. Oh, and by the way, he wants the main event spot for the World Championship. It doesn't work that way. That's a quote by Dana, but let me tell you what Dana's talking about. It is extremely important for morale within the locker rooms that you have a way things work. This was tested. The year was 1987. The athlete was the Ultimate Warrior. Now, in the world of professional wrestling, to get onto TV, there's things that you have to do, and it's not being good at wrestling. And it's not having the fans behind you. You have to be given a push, but to be in a position to get that push, there's towns that you got to make. There's jobs that you got to do. There's sacrifices and injuries that have to be pushed through. There's time away from family, getting in a car, riding down the road that's overpacked, trying to get from one spot to the next. Having dinner out of a quickie mart just so you can get to the next town so you can perform the next time your music hits those speakers. Once you pay that price, you put yourself in a position to get what's known as the push, where you will get in front of the audience and the audience will decide, do we want you on the main card or not? Once you get there, you can start to work your way all the way up to the main event, all the way to the main event of a WrestleMania, but you can't do any of it out of order. And they did just that in 1987. They did that with a bodybuilder who didn't know the difference between a wrist lock and a wristwatch, and his name was Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior did such a good job and was such a marquee name that Hulk Hogan took him on at a WrestleMania, and Hulk Hogan allowed the Warrior to pin him clean. To put that in perspective, Hulk Hogan 3 times in his career had been pinned clean. The term clean means there was no chair shot when the referee wasn't looking. There was no brass knuckles as the managers got the referee distracted. You go up a straight-up wrestling match, 1, 2, 3, somebody gets their hand raised. Hogan had only been beaten twice up until that point, clean. He gave the third one to the Warrior, and the timing worked out. Hogan's bright was light. He was away from his family. He had a great run, but he needed some rest. Hogan was ready to let that travel schedule dim just a little bit, but didn't want to leave the company in a bad spot. And now you've got Ultimate Warrior, which the whole world was behind. Vince signed off on it against Vince's own judgment. Vince's judgment is that goes to one of the boys who used to help set up the ring, who used to help to drive the semi from town to town, just hoping to get in a pair of tights one day. The same story that all the wrestlers did, which is how you keep that unity and you keep that morale and you keep that hope alive within the locker room. They skipped it all, gave it to Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior did not understand. Ultimate Warrior used to get dressed in the locker room by himself, wouldn't even go see the boys, wouldn't travel with them, wouldn't fly with them, wouldn't drive, wouldn't even stay at the same hotel with them, wanted nothing to do with them. And the boys ran him out. And yes, in the short term, Warrior sold a lot of tickets. He did very well in merchandising. He did everything right in a very short term. Over the long term, you got to put the locker room back together. It turns into a problem. Warrior had only one argument, which is the fans like me more than like anybody else. That's a strong argument. But the rest of the boys are saying, we've got the sacrifice. We haven't been given the push. We don't have the right gimmick. We don't have the right opportunity. And we deserve to have creative get behind us. The same thing happened. The year was called 1996. The athlete was called Bill Goldberg. WCW brought in a stone cold ripoff in the form of Bill Goldberg, who did great. Bill did such a good job. He sold tickets everywhere. Bill is still a meaningful character, but he didn't pay the price. He didn't fully understand what he had. And he also didn't understand why I can't just be given it if the crowd likes me more. And the answer is, in the short term, you can. You're going to sell us a lot of tickets, but in the long term, you're going to ride off into the sunset because you got a whole big jackpot to do it, and the rest of the boys are still going to be making towns with us, except now their morale is crushed. It's very important the way that Dana went about this. So every move that Henry made, and they were great. Henry did a great job, guys. Can we give him that? The king of cringe has done a great job. But you put that strategy together, and then you enact your plan to get a reaction from one person, which is Dana, and now you have that reaction. So what do? In that moment, you switch course. Right there. If you continue the same shtick that already got you pushed away, you already have your answer, and now you're falling into the definition of insanity, which is to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. So what does Henry do? Well, I think he's got very clear marching orders. Because you can always take Dana at his word. If Dana says it to you or he says it about you publicly, you can take him at his word. And Dana's now made it very clear what Henry needs to do. First off, come back and fight. This is to get to Volkanovski. Come back and fight. Come back and fight at 145 pounds. Come back, work your way up, which in a position like Henry, right? Don't act like Henry's favorless. Don't act like Henry doesn't get any kind of special treatment. Sure he does. Sure he does. He didn't have 15 years of cooperation like George St-Pierre did, but Henry's still in a very great spot. He's just going to have to do what Dana has now laid out and said he's going to have to do. Come back to fight, do it at 145, take on a couple of the top guys. We're done. We're done. That was the answer. I don't know if you could name 5 athletes for me that are in that good of a position. There was no other retired athlete. There was no other athlete who had done a call out who got mentioned by Dana, teed up by powerful member of the media and John Morgan at a press conference for an event they weren't even at. All good stuff for Henry. Really good. Now we learn from Henry. What is this about? Are you willing to go into the bracket? Are you willing to come through the quarterfinals? Are you willing to get into the semifinals? Are you willing to work your way into the championship match or not? And there's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer. Be very hard if you were in Henry's shoes, right? One thing we know about life, and we don't like it when it happens to us, what goes up must come down. So Henry, who's walking into nothing but world title fights lately because he's bringing the belt, he's walking into nothing but main events because he is the champion, is now going to be somewhere else. It's hard. It's not going to be a physical battle. Henry has proved his physicalities to all of us 3 times, because I count the Olympics. 121 pounds, 125 pounds, 135 pounds. What he hasn't shown us is the mental side of how much does he have left? How many more times is he willing to dig deep and sacrifice to see a goal come true? And frankly, Henry doesn't owe us that answer in terms of his legacy or the way we will look at him. We already look at him as one of the most accomplished combat athletes to have ever done it. Does he have one more up his sleeve? That's for Henry to answer. But that, make no mistake, is what Henry now needs to answer. The boss has put it out there. The boss has said what needs to be done. So we're all going to stand back and see, is that going to be done? Because we have a clue already. This is 48 hours ago, and we already have one clue, which is Henry has spoken up, but this time he spoke about 135-pounders. So if we had to bet, is Henry coming back? I lean towards yes. He likes to fight. He's damn good at it. He's in the gym practicing to fight. I think that it's pretty obvious that he's coming back. But for Dana to say, hold on, you're not coming back against Volkanovski, the champion, in a weight class you haven't competed in. Okay. And by the call-out that Henry has now made, which had to do with Aljo, it looks as though 135 is a possibility, which by my ears is the only thing Dana was saying I need a little bit of clarity on. So come back, get a license, get on the scale, go compete, and show me. Show me what weight you're at. That seems reasonable. He's passed the ball back to Henry. Henry, we await your move.